And welcome into the All Utah Hockey Podcast. I'm Petey. As always, along with me is Craig Morgan. Make sure you give us a like and check out all of Craig's written content at theallcitynetwork.com. Follow the show at Twitter at all_Utah Hockey and subscribe to your YouTube channel, All Utah Hockey, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Craig, welcome into another Wednesday and a very special show today.
Indeed. We are very happy to be joined today by Utah Hockey Club coach, André Tourigny. Let's bring him in, Emma. No sense in waiting. André, how you doing?
Very good yourself.
I was kind of hoping that you would show up in full motorcycle leathers today, honestly.
There's no chance. That was not happening. Maybe a month ago, my beard was about that long. Maybe you'll have loved that picture.
Does that picture exist actually?
Yeah, it does, but yeah, it's expensive.
I'm not getting it.
No, not a chance.
Well, let's talk about your summer a little bit, because I know you like to take these motorcycle trips. We talked about this in the past. Did you have one this summer? Did you have some fun?
No, we had just more quick ride, one day here and one day there in Quebec. That's what we did. I didn't go far. I stay around. Last summer we bought a place in the town where I grew up, and I'm 10 minutes from my parents, my sisters, and my friends. So we spent time with the family. That's what we did.
All right. How are you settling in, André? This obviously has been a whirlwind of an off season, a lot of change, but have you settled into Utah, and what have you discovered about your new hometown?
It's beautiful, honestly. Like, if you talk about the bike, I run my bike here. I have a few ride in the canyon and everything. It's beautiful. That's one. Two, the people has been amazing to us. From the people from SEG, the people from the Jazz, from the neighbor, the people around town, the people you see at a restaurant or whatever. It's been amazing. It's been, we feel welcome.
Yeah, you've got a little feel for the state with the, I know you were in Park City for development camp. That's a beautiful area as well. So you've probably gotten a good sense of the state already, huh?
Yeah, I like I said, I ride around, so I had a good feel. And the boys went at the university football, the youths, a couple 2 weeks ago. So I think we're 1 hour away. I think everybody's settled. Everybody arrived a little bit earlier than usual, just to make sure that we had the feel for the city and everything. So we're excited to start finally.
I got to ask all the important questions, and I know Petey's going to love this question because he loves
that's
this
why
topic.
I left this one. I left this to you, Craig. This is not a PD question.
Does Utah have the right type of maple trees to make maple syrup, André?
Sorry, but there's nothing like home, Craig. That's you can get the guy out of Quebec, but I'm not sure you can take Quebec out of him. So that's the syrup will become from back home for sure.
Yeah, okay. For those that don't know, Coach André Tourigny makes his own syrup back home in Quebec, which we've had before, and fantastic syrup. But as we know, that is all you will hear me talk about syrup on the rest of the show. I promise, because I'm going to start talking about hockey. And one of the things when this franchise left Arizona, we talked a lot about the facilities. We talked about the facilities at the Mullet Arena. We talked about the facilities at your practice facility at the Ice Den in Scottsdale. Not ideal. But now the move to Utah, and you had 4 months. And when I mean you, I don't mean you, I mean Stan, had 4 months to get 2 different facilities up and running. So here we are a day from the ice. Where does everything stand at the Oval? Are you guys ready for practice? And more importantly, you're a week away from your first preseason game. Where do things stand at the Delta Center?
We're close to miracle everywhere, Petey, to be honest. And it's funny because we maybe an hour ago I had a long chat with Stan. He came in my office and we just shoot the breeze there. When we land end of April in Utah, we did not even know where we will practice. We didn't have a deal with an arena, so don't even think about having a plan of what will be the facility and everything. We didn't even know where, and in 4 or 5 months what they build, it's unreal. It's too bad I'm not there right now. I'm back home, but we could see our offices and the players room and everything. They put their best foot forward, and there's no doubt about it. The new practice facility will be built for next season, which that will be it's coming. It will be unreal. And the Delta Center, it will be at the finish line, ready for next week. We're playing there Monday, but it's I saw today. I will say it's probably 75% done. But the way they work and the speed they work here, it's impressive to be honest.
And have you seen this? This is one of the things this ownership has said from the outset too. Is let's not have any excuses for this team. Let's give them what they're asking for to be successful. Is that what you've seen over the last 3 months?
Oh, that's when he said it was all in. When Ryan and Ashley said we're all in, they showed us that. Honestly, it's amazing how fast everything went and how all in on deck in the entire organization. Like I said, the people from the Jazz are crossing over all the time to help. People work weekend to sell tickets or sponsors and all of it. The energy around the team, around the organization, the energy is coming from on top through us. It's amazing.
We got guys hitting the ice tomorrow, and it's a big group, 64. That's us. That's all. Those equipment guys and medical guys have a lot of work tomorrow. But
Yep.
this time of year, we always have to ask about who's coming into camp healthy. We had some guys last year with Hayton. We had TJ Ginla coming into the rookie camp with some injuries. What do you look like going onto the ice tomorrow?
Well, first we'll have a few guys will be day to day. A few guys are banged up, but we want to establish our structure as quick as possible in the first 3 days. The advantage we have, everybody talk about our new player, and for sure there's key, but we have a lot of returning player as well. We have what, 17, 18 returning players, something like that. I don't know exactly the numbers, but that give us for the first time in 3 years a really good core to build around bunch of guys who know what's our system in the D zone, what our system in the breakout, what our system in every area. Having that said, we make some tweak, we'll make some change. You've been around, it's never the same than the last year, but we're not starting from the beginning. We're not starting from scratch. You will move really quickly. We'll be able to spend time. We have 2 phase we're making major change, so we'll be able to put a little bit more time in those, but we're not starting from scratch. So even our new player, they will play with player who know how to play that structure. So we're not starting from scratch. We want to go as fast as possible. So we in the first it's 8 or 9 days of the camp, we want to go through our structure, so then we can just do a review and keep getting some reps and for the rest of the camp. So we arrive in the season and there's no thinking. We know what we're doing. It's an instinct now. We have pace and we don't have to think about, hey, where should I be? Where should I be this? Or what's that situation? We want to be in the mode where we have flow.
Andre, you mentioned some of the personnel changes late last season. Bill said that priority number one would be rebuilding this blue line, and man, did the club go out and do it. You make the trade on draft day for Mikhail Sergachev, you get John Marino, you get Ian Cole, you just added Robert Bortuzzo. Is this now a strength of the team when you look at this blue line?
No, I will say no, Craig, because if you look our team, I like our balance, and that's where the strength is for me. If you look at the depth we have up front, it's that's deep. That's really deep. You have the because you have the growth to arrive from the outside. The name you just said, and I agree. But you have the growth within. You have the young guys who will be better. You have, it's like we're talking about Michele, Keller, and those kind of guys like they were old men. They're 25, 26. Barrett, Ayton, they will grow. All those guys, there's a lot of growth from the inside. So that would be one. And I think the ad of Kevin Stanley is it's an important one for us. I always use that, but hey, it speaks for itself for me. He played more minutes on the PK in average per game than the Selke winner, and he was on the same team. It has to mean something. Has to mean
Uh,
something on the really good PK who had really good numbers. So it has to mean something, and I'm really happy to have him. For me, he's a weapon. He was good in Winnipeg the year before on a good PK, and again last year was an elite player in Florida on a good PK. So the PK was something we want to be better at. And if you look the Cole and the Bertuzzo and the Sergachev and Marino, our guys are playing ton of minutes on the PK and on the championship team. So we're fortunate to for the move we made. We're grateful for what happened.
I want to talk about Sergachev a little more. You've said in the past that you like to judge players fresh when they come in, not base it on what you've seen or what you've heard. Are you taking that same approach with him? And at the same time, what's your sense of this player?
It's a good point, Craig. But for me, every player go during the summer and they want to revamp themselves. They want to improve. They want to improve part or all their game or their strength or whatever. If you don't give them the opportunity to show you what they have, and you instead you take the picture you have from them from last year and you put a lid on what they want to do, boy, you don't let them grow. I have a duty for me as a coach to, hey, you don't start from blank page, but you start as blank as possible. Let's put it that way. Let them have room to write their own script and how much they train and how much they grow and how much they can, how much more they can help the team moving forward. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I let them talk about what's their own expectation, and then my job is to give them the opportunity to reach those expectations, and we'll go from there. So Sergey has high expectation for himself. He sees a great opportunity with our team. He put the bar really high, so it's exciting.
I wanted to talk about Marino as well. I almost feel like he's been a little bit overlooked because so much attention has been paid to Sergachev, but he's established himself as quite an NHL player in his own right. What's your read on this guy and how he can help the club?
1,000%. I think he's a kind of an unsung hero in the team. He's a guy who play well. In all the little detail defensively, he's really mobile. He has a good stick. He's on the right side. He defend well, and he's good in transition. So I think he's a perfect fit to support a guy like Sergachev. We see them playing together, and I think that will be a good fit.
You talk about players that are coming back and returning, and we're going to get a chance to talk to you during the season too more about that middle core. We can get into Keller and Krause and Schmaltz and those guys, but the guys I want to talk about next are the guys that were just getting their feet wet in the National Hockey League last year. And one of those guys was Logan Cooley, who we saw this time of year a year ago score one of the highlight reel goals of the entire season. Had a good season, but it was a learning season for him. Where do you think Logan Cooley's game is coming into his sophomore season with the Utah Hockey Club?
I think there's still a lot of growth in a sense. Cools is really driven. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the dominant player. So now he's coming back for his second year. I don't know, but you've been there, Petey. What do you think he has in mind? Okay, now I'm in now. He might realize, okay, he's still pretty good, the guy on the other side. He's still the best in the
Yeah.
world. So That's just the way it is. And he's a smart kid. He knows that. But I like when the guy's excited and he wants to be dominant. I like that. I like his compete level. I like he wants to be the best. And what we saw in his game last year it's a lot of growth in his
Mhm.
mindset, a lot of growth in his positioning, a lot of growth in his patience, a lot of growth in his managing his emotion and all of it. I think I would be dumb to say, hey, okay, now he's 20 years old, he's good to go. No, he still have growth. He will. I think for the next 5, 6, 7 years, he will still improve. If you look at best player in the league, the guy like McDavid, they're still improving. Not it doesn't know. Improving is not just points. Sometimes it's improving means making less point, and you're a better player. So
Well,
it's just a matter of for keeping growing every day.
another player that's young, and we talk about the drive that Cooley had. This player had drive when he got called up from the minors and was told, because Craig and I were there, oh, he's going to be here a couple games. We'll see this kid a couple games. That's Dylan Gunther, a kid that willed himself into a full-time role, and a guy that Utah Hockey Club fans can get behind. This kid. This kid's a goal scorer. He can shoot like you can't believe. Takes the game incredibly serious. Again, if I'm a Utah hockey fan, this is a guy you need to know. You need to keep your eye on Dylan Gunther. How has his summer been, and what are your expectations from him coming into this year?
You know, I always have a say, and you've been around, guys. The first guy to know is the player. You want to know how good he is? Ask the player. I had the opportunity before the camp. I went for a snack or lunch or dinner with players, and they talk about Dylan Gunter. What do you think about him? Oh, Gunter he's a great player. Yeah, okay, he can shoot the puck. Dylan Gunter is a really good hockey player who has a really good quality. He shoot the puck. He has a release like it's unbelievable. But it's not the only thing he does. He's not a shooter in term of the people see a shooter as that's what he does. No, that's not Gunner. Gunner is excellent defensively. He has great read in the game. He passed the puck well. He's elite, like I said, defensively. He works hard. He does more than one thing. But he shoot the puck. Like, yes, he
Mhm.
does.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who do a lot of things well, this guy has a pedigree. So I don't think it would be possible for him not to play the game the right way. And I know you got to know his dad very well, a guy we call Josh Doan's father. We don't name him by name anymore on this show. Josh Doan coming into this camp, he had a heck of a cameo, 11 games. I think he surprised a lot of people, but he still got his work cut out for him to make this roster. First of all, how do you view that whole situation with Josh coming into this camp?
He's much better than his dad defensively. What you talking about? I
Yeah,
hope I
no
hope Donor
argument.
will listen to that.
No
No, but
argument there.
no, but seriously, Josh is a good hockey player, like you said. He does a lot of good thing, and he played the game the right way. I think when he came with us last year, he gave us a boost because he's going in the net. He's not afraid to put the work. He has a really good stick, good on the forecheck, those kind of thing. Having that said, I said that before. We have a lot of that. We have a lot of that, and Josh is a young player. He needs to make a room for himself in the lineup. He's not the kind of a prospect if he's not in the lineup will be beneficial for him to be around. So he will have all the opportunity. We'll play him a ton. He knows what I think of him. He knows I like him a lot. I have a ton of. Josh Doan will be a really good player for our team for a long, long time.
Okay,
Hopefully,
let's
his time is right now. Hopefully,
let's
but
talk about that a little
we'll see.
more, Andre. When you parse that, like, how do you balance? Okay, he could go to the AHL, play a lot of minutes in a lot of situations, and continue his development, or maybe he's in a fourth line role here, not playing the kind of minutes. I,
He
I
can,
don't
he
know
can
how
do
you
that.
go ahead.
He can do that. Donor is not a. He will be a good fourth line guy. For me, that's fine. Yeah. I won't talk about Gunner because we sent Gunner in the minor last year, so I don't want to use that example. 2 years ago, we had Matthias Michelli. It was
Mhm.
the same. At the camp, we were okay. Is he ready? Is he ready or he's not? Chile arrived at the camp. He was one of our best players, if not our best player during the camp. Well, he answered the question. There were no question on our side. We didn't take a decision. He took the decision for us. We want Donor to do the same with us this year. He just take the decision for us, and that's easy. Then we don't want to be in the situation where we have to debate what's best for his development and what's best for the future, this and that. That is always when you leave the decision to someone else, you never know which side it will go. So I want him to do like Michele and answer the question for himself.
It's
All right.
something you brought up too about fighting for positions and fighting for spots. And I've been fortunate to go through training camp in the NHL and watch players try to compete for spots. There aren't many. And
Nope.
you can look going into camp and you go, oh, you start looking at numbers and guys and you go, oh my goodness, there's not a lot of spots. And are you going into this eyes wide open? 64 guys
Yeah.
coming into camp. You're going, hey, if you want to stay here, prove that you want to stay here. And that goes for everybody. I mean, from
Yeah.
Keller all the way down to player number 64. Do you feel like there might be one of those surprise guys this year?
Yeah, PD, for people, sometimes the translation of open means making the team or not making the team. That is out of their hands. And
Mm-hmm.
it's out of my hands sometimes and out of Bill's hands sometimes because there's contract, there's a lot of thing in the NHL. So that's not what they should focus on. What they should focus on is that's where I am in the depth chart in
Mm-hmm.
the organization. That's where my spot is. I want to be better. We'll give you an example. Michael Carcone.
Mm-hmm.
He plays a lot. It's a huge training camp for him. He played fourth line, 10 minutes a night, scored 20 goals. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now he wants to move ahead of someone else so he can play 14 minutes a night and have, uh, let's say, a piece of the power play. That's it's important for him. It's not about will he
Mm-hmm.
make the team. Come on. I
Yeah.
can't hear him play the tough guy. Oh, I don't know. Come on. He
Yeah,
will
you're
make a
right.
team. There's no question. There's no question. He proved it in the past. But okay, will he stay at 10 minutes in and out of the lineup? Or will he grow at playing 14 minutes and having a sniff on the power play? That's what he's fighting for. The same thing for Logan Cooley. Logan Cooley wants to be a go-to guy. Okay, will he play 16 minutes a night, or on the power play, or he will play power play and PK, and he will play 19 minutes a night? That's what he has to earn during the camp. The same way when we just talk about Josh Doan, or we can talk about Liam O'Brien. Liam O'Brien wants to be in the lineup every night. Boy, he needs to earn that. And now, if we go at name the player you want for the Tucson Roadrunners last year, let's say Ben McCartney. Ben McCartney, even if he has a great camp 2 years ago or a year ago, that's over. Now he's at that spot in the depth chart. He wants to climb because even if you're an AHL player and you don't make the team out of training camp, you may be the first call up because of your camp. That's make a
Mm-hmm.
difference. You have a guy right now. During the summer, you think, okay, if we have an injury at that position, here we have this guy, we have this guy. But that during the camp has to change. That's your job to say, okay, now I'm the third call up on the right wing. No. After the camp, I will want to be the first call up because that will happen. They will be call up. There will be injury. Position yourself to be the next call up. You're a junior guy. You're fighting for a contract. You don't know if we'll have a contract or what. Well, now during that camp, you may become a no-brainer. You may become, okay, this guy we need to sign him now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it
Okay.
is.
PD apparently PD left all the favorite, the questions you love to talk about to me, Andre. So I'm just going to throw that out there. So I want to talk about, as PD labels it, the goaltending battle. Veggie was number one out of camp last season. Connor Ingram had an all-star caliber season. Are you taking the same approach whereby we're going to need both of these guys at times? One guy's going to be number one at times. Another guy's going to be number one.
Yeah, I think if you look Veggie 2 years ago, how good he was, and how good Iggy was last year, that's what we want from both of them. We need every position needs to be better. Those guys, we expect growth. We expect them to keep getting better, and that's what we want. So we need those two. We need those two healthy. We think Higgy was phenomenal last year. We expect no less this year.
Hey, I want to talk about something besides goaltending. I want to talk about systems because that's what I love about this game is systems. And I've talked to you about systems, and I watch systems all day. It's my love of the game. And one of the things I watched win the Stanley Cup this year was defensive play. And the
Yeah.
Florida Panthers, all three zones defended while smothered teams got on top of them. When you look and build your system file for the summertime and
Yeah.
you look at other teams, do you look to the playoffs? Do you look to the Florida Panthers? Do you
Oh,
look to the teams that are successful and go, I like this, but I'd like to tweak it a little bit? And
yeah.
are those changes going to show up on this team over the next, 9-10 days?
Oh yeah, it will, no doubt about it. And yes, you don't. If you just look at your team, I think you're missing on something. We all know hockey is you steal from everybody. There's no secret. That's the way you grow. That's the way you get better. So now with the advanced stats, you go even farther than in your time. Well, we did in all three zone, every system. We example there. Let's say talk about the D zone. There's a hybrid D zone. There's a man-on-man D zone. There's zone coverage. Which teams play what? Okay, let's say there's 19 play that system, 12 play that system, and 7 play the other, whatever the number. And we look all the stats from there. Okay, the team who play in hybrid, how good are they on cutting the pass from the slot? How good they are from giving uh, goals against or expected goals again? How good are they on takeaways and stuff like that? On possession time against and versus one versus the other. So we not just evaluate with our eyes, our naked eyes, our feelings. We here that we have numbers. Okay, that's the
Mm-hmm.
numbers for the D zone. That's number for the hybrid. That's the number of man on man. The pros and the counts, and we go like that in every system. So it's not just about saying, "Oh, we like the way we play that structure." No, no, no. It's more in depth than that. And then from there, okay, Florida are good in neutral zone. Okay, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
The number doesn't tell you that. You just tell you they're
Mm-hmm.
good. They're good. That doesn't tell you what
Yeah.
they are good at. So now
Yeah.
the work starts. The easy part is to have our high performance and analytic group bring the numbers. Okay, now we need to dig in, and we we the staff did a really good job. We dig in hard this summer. We really proud of the boys.
Do you want to give us any hints to maybe some of the tweaks that you've made?
Well, you will see it quick enough, but we will
I
be
got to
more
take
aggressive
notes.
on our forecheck, no, more
Mhm.
aggressive on our neutral zone forecheck. Uh, we simplify a few things in our D zone, and we'll put a lot of emphasis on our box out and stuff like that. Which, again, bunch of numbers came out from an Alphic where there's some trigger points we need to not just us as a team be better, but in the league, that's really what's make the difference. So we will be a little bit more focus on those.
Just to be clear, this exhaustive research and tweaking is something you do every summer, right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
told me this in the past where
yeah,
you've got tons and tons, sheets and sheets of notes.
yeah. You know what? For me, it's sometimes when people don't know me, they think I'm second guessing everything. Well, for me, it's not negative. I'm not second guessing. I'm making sure we're not forgetting something. We're not missing something. It's too easy to get in that job to get in the comfort zone and say, "Thing, oh, I like the way we play D zone." It's not about if you like it or not. That's that. We're not in the love business. It's about what's the result, what's the new trend in the league. Who, eh, 5 years ago, there were no pressure in neutral zone as much. It was all about closing the red line and so on and so forth. Now it's all about pressure and making sure the offense doesn't have time to organize. You need to stay on top of the new trend and be ahead of it. But if you're sleeping on those details and you feel too good about yourself, that doesn't work. You need to get at it. There's a lot of staff, there's a lot of good coach in that league, and everybody work hard. So you cannot fall behind and feel too good about yourself. That won't work.
All right, perhaps your favorite topic that I asked you about at least a dozen times last year, and this was coming from the fans. In fairness to me, Andre, what about the captaincy this season? I hear that you're discussing the captaincy
Yeah,
this season. Okay? Can you give us
but
any
not
insight?
not this season. That's a topic we talk all the time. You know,
Yeah.
and I said that before. For
Mhm.
me, a captain, Craig and Petey think they know who's the captain. The fans think they know who's the captain. The owner thinks he knows who's the captain. The GM thinks he knows who's the captain. The coach thinks he names the captain, and the player thinks they choose a captain. When all of those people have the same name, then we have a captain.
Yep.
That is one thing. Two, now when you're a captain, you need to be ready. There's responsibility, there's role, there's actual action you need to take. And people think it's a press conference. That's in the bottom of the thing. That don't worry about that. If you're capable of being captain, there's a chance you can handle the press conference. I'm not worried about that. It's how will you conduct yourself if you're 6 game without producing your -4 in 6 game, but there's a situation in the team where you need to step up and do what you have to do. Will you be comfy enough to do it? And I'm not a believer of, oh, this 21 years old guy will be a great
Mhm.
captain. We'll put him captain right away. No, that's not my philosophy. The other team does that. I don't judge. They do their thing the way they think it should be. For me, okay, we think he will be. Let him grow, and when he will be ready, he will be captain. Don't worry about it. But if you're captain, for me, you're ready to be captain. Not because you will become. No, you are. You are our captain. We don't say, we don't do a press conference to say, hey, you know what? In 3 years, Craig Morgan will be our captain. That's not the way. If you are, you are. So that's the way I see it. So we're talking. We have guys. We think we have the right personnel. It's just a matter of timing and keeping growing and having answers all those situation question. And we have a fluid discussion on that.
Okay. Thanks for answering that for the 40th time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Andre, Bill has been very clear about expectations for season 4 of the rebuild. He's looked at numbers. He's looked at the data, the past, and said it's not a lot of teams get into the playoffs. But often GMs and coaches have a different view on this by nature. I think you have to, because a
Yeah.
lot of times for the coach and the players, it's about the here and now. What are your
Yeah.
own expectations for this team? And is this team playoff worthy?
That's that. Okay. I won't answer that because that is in 3 lifetime ago. We have 82 fight before we get there. So why will I focus on the fight number 83? We have to be ready for the practice tomorrow. That's what I know.
Mm,
And we need to be the best we can be at the practice tomorrow so we can go at day two, etc., etc. The goal is for me is to perform and improve every day. There's no way we can make the playoff if we look at game 83. That's the least of my worry right now. We need to be ready for game one. That is the focus for now. And how to do that is to have the best day in the league tomorrow. Tomorrow we need to be the team who improve the most. And that it's a challenge because there's 32 other good team, good coach, good player who wants to win the day tomorrow. So tomorrow
mm.
we have a hell of a competition. So
Yeah.
bring that back to that. And if we do that every day, we will be happy at the end. And
Coach,
good thing will happen.
a lot of our people watching the show are commenting on they'd run through a wall for you. My gosh, I didn't know he was this good. And I want people to understand in Utah that haven't heard the coach speak before, this is real. This is who he is. I mean, this is a guy that builds relationships with his players first, and the X's and O's part is part of that. But it's the relationships that gets him where he is. Coach, I'm watching you and I'm excited because I think you look excited. And it was hard. Your last few seasons, you go through the challenges that a head coach had that most coaches don't have, where you're talking about arenas and facilities and are we moving, are we not, and the stresses that you had to keep outside of your locker room every single day. Well, this is new. It's a clean slate. It's a new ownership. It's a new franchise. You look energized. What's that emotion like tomorrow? Different colors, different sweater, different rooms. Is it a clean slate for André Tourigny?
Oh, I'm dying to start, Petey. I'm dying to start.
Yeah, I can
Player
tell.
better to be ready tomorrow because the bear will buzz around for sure. I was
Yeah.
I was I was joking with them today. I was saying, "Oh, be ready for the bark tomorrow, boys." No, but in the good ways. I'm not.
Yes.
I won't be any different than I am, but I like people with passion. I like to have energy every day. Every time I see you guys, it's fun to be. It's fun to be at the ring. It's fun to be around the coach, the player. I like that. But that, don't get me wrong. When the chip are down, the teddy bear become the grizzly bear in no time. It's for me. There's the people and there's the business. There's totally different. When we're in people environment, we take care of the people. When the chip are down in this business, no, there's no prisoner. There's a job to do, and there's no feeling about that. That's what we have to do, and that's the job, and get the job done. That we're well paid. We're the best. We're living the best life on this planet. We're we're in hockey business. We're professional. We eat like no, there's no tomorrow.
You're
There's
never hungry.
we're treated best hotel, best traveling, best job, best group of guys. What you want more than that? You just have to work. So I'm so excited for tomorrow. I can't wait.
André, we cannot thank you enough for taking time. I know this is really busy right now. You just had media day. It's been a crazy day. So thank you for carving some time out of your day. Good luck to you this season. Really looking forward to seeing you up there for the season opener.
Thank you guys. I miss you already. Looking forward to talk to you again.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Craig, I tell you what, that is Bear. And
Yep.
and I'm excited. One, he's going to do fairly regular check-ins with us to keep us abreast of what's going on. But you're going to get it straight from him. I mean, he's going to tell you when things are good. He'll tell you they're good. When they're bad, he'll tell you they're bad. He's a straight shooter, and that's why I like getting a chance to catch up with Coach André Tourigny.
How was that for a walk-off quote, by the way? The teddy bear becomes a grizzly bear.
The players are writing that. That's on the board. That is on the board tomorrow. But Craig, you know what else is on the board tomorrow? Is going to shop. We're going to talk. We're going to talk on the other side about our thoughts about the coach. But for now, I want to tell you about FOCO. FOCO is the leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and so much more. It's the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms, whether it's hoodies, jackets, beachwear, or Craig's favorite, the Utah Ute overalls. There's something for every fan, for almost every occasion. Get your Utah Jazz stuff and Utah Utes, collectibles, and merch at FOCO. Check out FOCO always has our back for sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by visiting FOCO.com and using the code ALLCITY10. For all non-presale items, use the promo code ALLCITY10 for 10% off. And then it's time to go camping in the great outdoors in Utah and use your Rugged Road cooler, Craig. I can see
you
Craig,
and me, buddy. You and me.
me and you roughing it. Like I don't even know what roughing it would be. I mean, Rugged Road coolers you can also use them at the tailgate, Craig. So that I will do because tailgating is okay. Rugged at the rivers and fishing and camping, there's bugs and cold and no. But they make all the gear you need to accompany you on your next adventure. Their coolers are designed to always float upright so you never lose a drink. Their coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip. They're great, and they stay cool for up to 7 days. Oh, great from everything from fishing to tubing to camping to tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor sports enthusiast. Gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedoutdoors.com and use AllCity for your code for 10% off. Okay, Craig. Coach André Tourigny talked about a little bit about the players coming back and their impact. What do you think specifically? Let's talk about the young guns first, and Josh Doan's ability to make this hockey club and what his impact is going to be.
I'm really curious how they're going to play that one. I got a chance to talk to Bill Armstrong a little earlier today as well, and listen, they take this approach with all of their prospects when you have a guy that did what he did last season, and if he continues that in camp. How do you play that, Petey? As Andre said, he can play a fourth line role, but is that the best thing for Josh at this stage of his development? Or should he go back to the AHL and overbake? They've said before that their philosophy is to overbake, get him over ready for the NHL so that when he comes up, he never leaves again. I don't know what that answer is yet. A lot of that will depend on what happens in camp, but when I think about this, I have to wonder, like, when you look at this roster, it feels like the top 9 are locked in already. So where does Josh Doan fit on this NHL roster unless he just blows their doors off in camp? Is it better for him to spend another season in Tucson? What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard because when you look at this forward roster group and you look through contracts and who's under contract at the NHL level, you're looking at 14 names and you're playing 12. So somebody's got to be on the lineup. And to your point, is Josh Doan a guy that's going to be able to be in there 82 nights, or is Josh Doan a guy that's going to be there in there 52 nights and you're sitting him out every third night? And is that good for his development? I do think, though, what Andre said is he'll make the decision for the coaches. Like he's either, and we know Josh Doan. We know what his family's like and the way this kid works and how he's going to approach training camp. That I have all the confidence that Josh Doan is going to blow the doors off people at this camp. I really do. And one of the things too, though, he could do, Craig, you notice Dylan Guenther because of his two-way play, but he shoots the puck. He's great on the power play. Logan Cooley, you just notice. You're going to notice Logan Cooley because he is dynamic. Josh Doan, there could be games where Josh Doan, you don't notice him, and he might have given you his best game because of his ability to defend, his ability to make the play between the blue lines that you might not notice. The guy that's third forward high in the offensive zone that breaks up a play that you just didn't notice because it didn't end up on the score sheet. I think they're going to have a hard time sending Josh Doan back down to Tucson. I really do. Now, having said that, if he's coming into camp and there's clearly, Alex Kerfoot has a great camp and everybody ahead of him, Michelli, we've already talked about. Yeah, if he's your 13th forward, then he's going back to Tucson. I know he's going to do everything in his power not to make that happen, though.
Because you're looking at Kevin Stenlund, you're looking at Jack McBain on that fourth line, right? So, and then you got Michael Carcone, Liam O'Brien, and Josh Doan. Yep. Like that's a tough one. You don't even want him to be a guy in and out of the lineup. You want him to be a regular if you're going to keep him up. Otherwise, it makes no sense, in my opinion. So we'll see how that plays out. The Coyotes signed a bunch of PTOs. I know people are wondering about those. A bunch of people have asked me about it. Listen, PTOs don't often make an NHL roster. A lot of times this is a favor to another executive or to an agent. So when I look at these guys, there are a bunch of guys that could play in Tucson. Like maybe a half dozen of these guys will be in Tucson. The one guy that intrigues me is Kyler Yamamoto because he's a first-round draft pick, right? A guy who has some offensive skill. I don't know. It's going to be tough. He's really going to have to earn this one because there's not, as we said, there's not a lot of spots, if any, on this roster right now. One thing that I've heard, I reached out to a few people from around the league that have seen him, that maybe with other clubs. One of the problems with him is he really a top 6 forward? Does he still think he's a top 6 forward? I had someone tell me the worst thing that ever happened to Kyler Yamamoto is he played with Connor McDavid. So he thought he belonged in that situation. If he could just accept that he's a bottom 6 forward and chip in where he could play in this league for 10 years. It'll be interesting to see what he's able to do, what he's able to show. He can bring some dynamic elements. I wonder sometimes, like when I look at Kyler Yamamoto, does he threaten Michael Carcone in some ways? I'm curious how this one plays out. Again, it's a long shot for a PTO, but I'm curious about this one particular player based on his pedigree and his previous accomplishments.
Yeah, and the one thing with PTO is too, Craig, and you see him across the league. There's some names out there like Tyson Berry is a PTO. You look across the league, Max Pacioretty is a PTO. There's some big names out there right now. And to your point, the likelihood of those players making the team that they are a PTO player for is very, 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 very slim, unless there is an injury at the exact right time or if something happens through waivers. However, having said that, this does give these players an opportunity to be seen by other general managers, other coaches, other teams around the league, and they may at some point be able to extend their careers by getting a PTO now. And we'll see. I mean, time will tell for this Utah club. And one of the things I find interesting, and I saw someone in the chat just said, I can't wait till Sunday for their first game. They hit the ice Thursday and they play a game Sunday, Monday, back to back.
Crazy, right?
I've never understood when I first started working in this league back in 1997. There were no rules. There was no CBA. You could do 2-a-days on the ice. You could do two. You could be at the rink as long as you wanted. The coaches could keep you there all day. Now they have a 3-hour rule. So that from the time the players literally have their first scheduled event, whether it's a meeting, an off ice workout, whatever that is, as soon as that clock starts, they have 3 hours, and that's how long you have them. Since that change, they've shortened training camp to where games are starting almost immediately. These guys are on the ice 3 times, Craig, and then they're playing a game. It's just mind-boggling to me that you can teach anybody anything in 3 days. I don't know how they do it, but they got back-to-back games in the first game in Delta Center on Monday, and you heard head coach André Tourigny say 75% done. That's interesting. Good luck for the other 25.
Yeah,
Stan,
exactly.
Stan and Tony, the head equipment manager down there, they got a busy couple of days moving the stuff around. But I know everybody there, and they're going to be ready. There is no doubt about it. This is a fun time of year for those guys. It is the worst time of year to be an employee. It is awful, Craig. The amount of people, when you have 64 people, 64 is a lot, by the way. That's a lot of people because you're looking at over 30 people on the ice at each session. That's a lot. I mean, ideally you have 24, 25. 30 is a lot to manage.
Yeah.
So there's a huge number. And to get all of these people in the right place at the right time, moving through a lot of moving parts, this is incredibly difficult on the staff. And not only that, I look at the equipment staff. They're doing it in a facility they've never had to do this in before. They don't know they don't know the guy that sweeps up at night, the guy that drives a Zamboni. They don't, and that makes a huge difference. I know it sounds trite, but it's not. Like this needs to be a well-oiled machine. A lot of moving parts in training camp. So this is going to be quite the busy 9 days for everybody with boots on the ground in Utah.
You know what hasn't changed for this franchise, Petey? Their schedule. Their schedule for the preseason.
Des Moines on Sunday.
Des Moines, Iowa. Come on. It is like this. I want people to read. I'm going to have 10 questions as Utah opens training camp. This will publish in the morning, maybe even late today if I get it jammed in before I head to the Green Day concert, by the way.
Good grief.
But when you look at what this team has had to deal with in the preseason, the past 3 seasons, they played in 15 cities over the past 3 seasons. And, one of those is Melbourne, Australia, by the way. Des Moines, Iowa, Salt Lake City. They'll play 2 games in Salt Lake this year at separate arenas. Las Vegas, Denver, San Jose, Anaheim. It's going to feel really nice when this team can settle into what most teams get to enjoy during the preseason, which is home-and-home series. That's coming soon, but it has been just a crazy, crazy ride for this franchise the past 3 seasons in the preseason.
So without giving too much of your article away, Craig, and your 10 thoughts for training camp, who on this roster, what player is Craig Morgan looking to the most to see where he moves? It may be 1 or 2, but what players are you looking for to make that next step, to make that leap, or what players are you most interested in seeing how they approach training camp this season?
Well, Logan Cooley's the obvious one, right? I think everybody's waiting to see if he emerges as a true top 6 center. He's close. He's got a lot of skills. I mean, there's no reason to believe that he's not on that track at this point. I did a story on him earlier, and he really dedicated himself to his craft and to his body this summer. So we'll see where that one goes. But that's the easy answer. There are a couple other guys that I'm looking at, like Jack McBain is a guy that I'm really curious whether he can take another step. He had that cameo, right? Right when they got him at the end of the 21 season. He had a good first full season. Last year, I thought he maybe took a little step back. I think they want to see more consistency from him. They want to see that consistent bite. He's got to contribute offensively. I'm really going to be keeping an eye on him because 2 years ago, we were talking about Jack McBain maybe having a higher ceiling than we assumed. Oh, maybe he's not a 4th-line player. Last season, I think we were looking at Jack McBain as a 4th-line player. Let's see what he can bring this season. The other guy that I'm looking at, and I'll ask your thoughts as well, Karel Vejmelka. Another guy who burst onto the scene. They discovered him after he had gone back to Czechia. Things didn't work out with Nashville. Teal Fowler, the scout over there, discovered. They ended up signing him, and he really entered the NHL with a bang. And then along comes Connor Ingram and steals his thunder. I know Andre says we'll need both of these guys, and he's right. You need 2 goaltenders in the league, but can Karel get back to that level that we saw earlier in his NHL career?
Hey, I wonder what he did over the offseason, because it was a player that I thought when he came over from Chechia Craig, he was all but thought of as he's going to be an American League goalie. That was what they had him labeled coming in, and they were impressed with his training camp. So it can happen, and training camp starts tomorrow. That it can happen. And when he was good, he was really good. But
Mhm.
when he was bad, he was really bad, and he just didn't find that consistency to his game over the last 2 seasons. And last year, Connor Ingram just found his spot, and he just got his stride, hit his stride, and played played his best hockey of his career. Connor Ingram was, to both of us, should have been in the All-Star game at the All-Star break. So I think for Karel Vejmelka, it's going to be about confidence. It's going to be about consistency and how he approaches this training camp. I know he was hitting the ice in Arizona prior to coming. Got to see his blue kit and see all of his blue gear. It's fantastic, by the way. I do like the colors. People are
Yeah,
going to
I do
like
too,
Karel's
actually.
gear, but we'll have to see. Be curious to see if he can be what he was 2 seasons ago. Again, for me right now, Connor Ingram's the guy. Maybe you see his name on the short list for the Canadian for the four countries cup. So
Yep.
I think coming in, Ingram's got just a little bit heads above. And for me, the couple players I'm looking at, one of them Bear brought up is Michael Carcone, because Michael Carcone to me was a guy that came up in the American League. When he was able to get in the lineup and get consistent minutes, he could score. The problem is his game hadn't come full circle yet, meaning he wasn't always defensively responsible. He didn't play the full 60 minutes. There were all little things in his game that didn't allow him to play the amount of minutes that his points warranted. And so I think you want to see, he's an older player, but now he's had the opportunity to play in this league and put up the numbers he put up. Can he take another step? Can he be a guy? To me, he's a bottom six forward, but bottom six forwards, you need bottom six forwards to win in this league too, in playoffs and in the cup. So he's one. And Matias Michelli, what's the ceiling on Matias Michelli, where
Mm.
we saw finished fourth in rookie voting 2 years ago? We thought he should have been a finalist in the top three, Stuart Skinner, but he had a good year. But the year after, I won't say anything. But what can Matias Michelli do? Elite playmaker, elite. And when I say elite, I'm not just blowing smoke because he plays for the Utah team. Across the league, people don't make plays like Matias Michelli can make. No look, backhand, sauce passes through traffic. He is absolutely elite. Can he take that to the next level to help this team put numbers up on the board?
Want to talk about one last thing with you, something we talked about with Barron. Petey and I have had this discussion. Should I call it a discussion about the captaincy? Petey
Oh,
believes that
good.
you have to have a C. I don't necessarily agree that you have to have a C. We're not going to get into that. If this team is to choose a captain, to me, and maybe you disagree, there are only two candidates. Clayton
Agreed.
Keller, Clayton Keller was the fire. Andre will talk about him being the guy in everybody's ear on the bench, driving them, pushing them to greater heights. And then the other guy to me is Lawson Krause, who's, as Andre described him, more of the caretaker. When I look at Lawson Krause, I see a lot of the qualities that Shane Doan had as a captain, where he was making sure everybody was in a good space, taking care of everybody on and off the ice. Petey, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree on both those names. And what's interesting is what Bear said, and that's he always has the right the right answer. It's not when you and I come up with it; it's when everybody comes up with it, and it's there is no other choice. And I know in the Coyotes locker room at the time, it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and it was Shane Doan, and it was Teppo Newman, and you knew it. Everybody knew that was the captain. I'm not in the room anymore, so I don't know. Outwardly, I think it's Clayton Keller, and I think he's the guy. Now, the temperament and the relationships that he has within that locker room are what make a captain, and we don't see those. We can
Yeah.
we can guess, we can ask, but we're not in there. We don't actually see the day to day, so it's not fair to us to say that. I do believe, though, when you see Chicago named a captain today, Nick Foligno.
Mhm.
And Nick Foligno is not going to be a top six forward in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. He's not. That's not what kind of player he is. But he's going to work hard, and he's going to represent his club and his teammates. You saw Tampa named one after Steven Stamkos was there for so long. Victor Hedman pulls on the C. I think it's time, especially when you're saying this is an expansion franchise, even though we know it's not. But it's an expansion. I think it's time. I think it's time that on game one, opening night, October, against the Chicago Blackhawks, I think there should be a captain on this team.
Okay. I just want to point out, by the way, that when Andre says it's when everybody comes to the same conclusion, you and I are not included in that everybody category.
But we're gonna pretend we are, though, Craig. Can we pretend?
They have not
No.
consulted us at all.
We are not. They don't ask us much about anything, Craig. But they should. Well, Craig, any final thoughts today after we got a chance to talk to the head coach prior to the first day on the ice at the Oval? By the way, so much going on if you're in the Utah area. There's so much going on at that Oval. I tell you what, I don't know how everybody keeps that stuff going straight between the Olympic guys on the outside. They got the little rink going. It's too much, too busy for me. It's going to be a lot buzzing around there over the next 3 days of training camp. But any final thoughts, Craig, on training camp or Coach André Tourigny?
I'm just fired up for NHL season. I always get excited this time of year. Training camp's the time where I just start feeling the emotions of the start of the NHL season. I love this game. You and I both grew up around it, so can't wait to start watching games again.
I was gonna wrap up. I got one more thing when you said that, because you love this. I hate it. Because all I can think of is when I worked.
You're a coach.
People that don't know, I worked for the Arizona Coyotes for 23 years, and but buddy, summers are nice. Summers are nice. You get to reacquaint yourself with your wife and your kid, and you get to barbecue, and you can have vacations and do things. And tonight, you lay in bed tonight, the night before you hit the ice, and you go, "Oh my goodness, that's over." And it's just this daunting, it's just this weight. We always call it it's the hamster wheel, and it's the hardest transition for, and some jest, but it's real. That transition time that starts tomorrow, it's you jump back on the hamster wheel and you just start running. And you just keep running, and you don't stop running until your team's eliminated from the regular season or the playoffs. And you just get up in the morning and you just go. And you just go, and it's a transition for you. It's a transition for your family, your teammates, your staff. This time of year is incredibly difficult. You have to break young men's dreams and say you're going down to Tucson, or we're cutting you for the team. And that's one of the hardest things I've ever seen done. I've never had to do it, thank goodness, but it's difficult. And all of the things that happen over these next 9 or 10 days are going to set the footprint for what this Utah Hockey Club is going to be. It's exciting. It's daunting. I think what Ryan Smith has put together, should be proud that he was able to accomplish this in 4 months. And I'm ready and waiting. Opening day is right around the corner against the Chicago Blackhawks. And if you want to get all of Craig's thoughts, including his thoughts on training camp, make sure you go to allcitynetwork.com and keep up with all of Craig's writing on the Utah Hockey Club. Follow us on Twitter at @all_Utah Hockey. Follow Craig at Craig S. Morgan. Follow me at S. Peters Hockey. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please, because it really helps us a lot if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you're listening to this show wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. As always, for Craig Morgan and Emma, the magic behind the Mac, I'm Petey. And as always, we'll see you at the rink.
We all silly like the mayor.